K-pop has long dazzled fans with idol perfection, polished performances, and meteoric success stories. But behind one label's glossy surface lurked a nightmare few could have imagined. At the center of it all was Jang Seok-woo, a powerful CEO who went from managing K-pop stars to facing charges of orchestrated sexual violence, manipulation, and abuse, shocking an entire industry. What began as a promising label that helped resurrect the legacy of the iconic group Shinhwa would soon become the epicenter of one of K-pop's most horrific scandals. This is how a music empire collapsed overnight. Open World Entertainment, founded by Jang Seok-woo in 2000, appeared to be another ambitious label on the rise. With artists like The Boss and X5 under its management, plus actors and key distribution deals through Lowen Entertainment and Sony Music Japan, the company seemed poised for longevity. Their 2011 licensing agreement with Shinhwa, the group once considered untouchable, only solidified Open World's growing power. It looked like a success story built on talent, opportunity, and smart business. But by April 2012, it all unraveled overnight. Before we go any deeper, if you're into stories that uncover the darker truths behind the idol, hit that like button to support more content like this. And subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next, because what happened inside Open World only gets more disturbing from here. Now, let's talk about the day everything unraveled. On April 10th, Jang Seok-woo was arrested at his office by undercover police. No warning, no press leaks, just a quiet takedown of a man long operating in the shadows. What followed wasn't just a scandal, it was a bombshell. Authorities charged him with serial sexual abuse of female trainees, dating back years. And the deeper they dug, the worse it got. Investigators would eventually interview over 20 victims, suggesting more than 30 were affected. The headlines were chilling, but they didn't even begin to cover what was really going on. According to investigators, the abuse took place inside the company building, the rehearsal studio in the basement and his office on the 5th floor, spaces meant for growth, corrupted into traps. The allegations were chilling. Victims claimed they were given drinks laced with drugs before being assaulted. Even worse, he didn't act alone. Some incidents were allegedly orchestrated by Jang Seok-woo remotely. He reportedly ordered male idols, including minors, to participate in the abuse, directing them via text and watching through CCTV. These weren't isolated crimes, they were systematic, and they were covered in a layer of silence powered by fear, hierarchy, and control. Open World's initial response? Denial. The company released a statement accusing the media of exaggeration and defamation, threatening legal action to protect its artists. But the cracks were spreading fast. As the investigation expanded, it became clear that this wasn't just about one man's crimes, it was about an ecosystem that enabled them. By April 12th, 6 female victims had been officially identified, 2 of them minors. Jang Seok-woo initially denied all charges, but later admitted to some under mounting pressure and evidence. Police would later confirm the most damning claims, that Jang had used his influence not only to assault, but to command others to join in. Police stated that while physical threats weren't used, Jang Seok-woo's status was enough to coerce participation, turning young male idols into unwilling accomplices. He had personally overseen trainee recruitment, which made his access to victims direct and unchecked. As investigations deepened, more disturbing details emerged. Korean police released reports alleging that Jang Seok-woo had forced male idol group members to sexually assault female trainees, and that he had sexually assaulted trainees from a girl group that he personally managed. Jang Seok-woo had managed every level of the trainee pipeline, from recruitment to training to debut, making it nearly impossible for anyone to question his authority. In the immediate aftermath of the arrest, Open World Entertainment tried to downplay the situation. They threatened journalists, accused outlets of defamation, and insisted that their artists were unfairly being dragged into the story. But the damage was already done. Trust in the company fell apart fast, not just from the public, but from within. The consequences were swift. Boy band The Boss canceled the release of their highly anticipated album. Label mates X5 pulled out of all public activities. And for fans, the betrayal was gutting. These were groups they supported, watched grow, and rooted for, only to realize that the machinery behind them had been deeply corrupt. Jang Seok-woo's legal battle stretched for over a year. In June 2013, after a failed appeal to the Supreme Court, he was sentenced to 6 years in prison for drugging and sexually assaulting at least 11 female trainees, some of them minors at the time of the assaults. The court also required him to complete 40 hours of sexual assault treatment program and made his offender status publicly known for 5 years following his release. In a bid to reduce his sentence, Jang Seok-woo filed a petition for leniency on July 12th, followed by a written letter of apology submitted on July 18th. Despite these efforts, prosecutors remained firm, formally requesting a 9-year sentence during the July 29th court session. Jang Seok-woo also sought bail, submitting documents indicating that 3 of the 4 initial complainants had withdrawn their accusations. These materials included settlement agreements and parental consent forms, but the court rejected his request. Making matters worse, Jang Seok-woo was issued a formal warning by the court after it was discovered that he had made threatening phone calls to victim A, the only woman who chose to move forward with the trial. Her refusal to back down, even in the face of intimidation, added further weight to the prosecution's case and cast serious doubt on Jang Seok-woo's claims of remorse. In the years following the scandal, Open World Entertainment ceased operations and many of its artists moved on to other agencies or pursued different paths. The fall of Open World Entertainment wasn't just a headline-grabbing scandal, it was a brutal revelation of the power imbalances and unchecked authority lurking behind the glamour of the K-pop industry. While Jang Seok-woo eventually faced justice, the deeper systems that allowed his abuse to go unchecked for years were never truly dismantled. Shockingly, more than a decade later, little has changed. In fact, recent allegations surrounding rookie groups like MADEIN show just how alarmingly familiar these stories have become. Gaeun, who was previously part of Limelight before joining MADEIN last year, became embroiled in allegations that she was sexually harassed by the CEO of her former agency, 143 Entertainment. She was then reportedly removed from MADEIN for speaking up about it. It's a troubling pattern we've seen before. Victims punished for coming forward while those in power face few consequences. It makes you wonder, will the industry ever truly change its ways? Or will powerful figures just keep cycling through the same playbook, abusing their positions, silencing idols through fear, contracts, and control, while fans are left in the dark?